We're going to be starting with The Last Extinction, The Real Science Behind the Death of the Dinosaurs by Gerda Keller, PhD, in conversation with Keith Wallman. Before I do her bio, I just want to say Dr. Keller's story is riveting. The dinosaur wars may not be what you think, and I certainly got a new perspective on this reading this book, and I'm never going to forget the lesson of some unhatched eggs. So, Dr. Gerda Keller is a professor of paleontology and geology in the Department of Geosciences at Princeton University. She has placed over 260 scientific publications in international journals and is considered a leading authority on, get this, catastrophes, mass extinctions, and the biotic and environmental effects of impacts and volcanism. She has co-authored 5 academic books and is a frequent lecturer around the world. In recent years, her work has received increased recognition and continues to make waves in the mainstream media, most notably in a widely circulated profile in The Atlantic, a scripted feature film adaptation of her stories in development, and I think you'll see why. And Keith Wallman is the editor-in-chief of Diversion Books. So with that, I am going to ask Dr. Keller and Keith Wallman to start their microphones and their cameras and come on the digital stage. Okay.
Let's start off with something that Marianne just referenced, a stunning moment, an early conflict in what's called the Dinosaur Wars that you write about in the book. You walk onto a stage at a major scientific conference. It's 1988. You're revealing your theory and your findings that support it. And you're met with open mockery and disdain by the audience. What did you say that provoked such an explosive reaction, and what was going through your mind at the time?
Well, there were a lot of things going through my mind at that time. And the best one was that it was all wrong, what they were saying. And so what I really wanted to do is go to this meeting, which was the first time I had gone to what we call basically an impact meeting. And it was at Snowbird, Utah. And this was only for, I suppose, really for what we call impactors.
Right.
Those who only believe that an impact caused the extinctions.
Asteroid impact caused the extinction.
Asteroid, exactly. And so I was actually traveling with a secret. And the secret was that I had returned to working with essentially the dinosaurs, because I had stopped doing it for 5 years because I felt that there was too much hatred going on with the impact world. And so I decided I would do other things, other science for 5 years. And then it would all be over and I could continue my own stuff. Well, it didn't work. It's still going on. But I went to Snowbird, I had done the work, and I found out that they were all wrong. They didn't have a clue what they were doing.
Your
And
claim you made at the conference, Gerda, was something that completely opposed the asteroid impact theory, right?
absolutely.
And bold claim, and you were shouted down at the conference and confronted by
Yes.
the asteroid impact scientists. What was the real story behind the 5th mass extinction that you were trying to tell?
The story was quite simple. That you have the 5th mass extinction, and it was actually Indian volcanism. all along. But the impactors would not consider that valid, because whatever they came up with, it had to be an impact and nothing else. And the other guy was the only paleontologist that actually ever worked really in this impact war, which is, of course, I'm using words rather liberally here, but I called it the impact war by the time I came to Snowbird. And it turned out to be truly that. I did something rather stupid. And that was, I wanted to talk with Jan Smit, who is special for a paleontologist, basically. But he switched to the impactors early on because he became basically the Alvarez's boy to do everything.
Luis Alvarez, correct?
Luis Alvarez,
Who
yes,
had connections going all the way back to the development of the atomic bomb, and then somehow
yep,
becomes the leading proponent of the theory that an asteroid impact caused the extinction of the dinosaurs.
absolutely.
And one of the questions I have for you, Gerda, is in these dinosaur wars, the wars between the science that you proposed and studied and had evidence for and the impact science, what was at stake? Why did it become such a nasty feud? What are the stakes in this battle over science? Is it funding? Was it money?
There was plenty of money from NASA.
Okay.
They had huge amounts and they funded everything. But that was all those things who worked on the impact stuff. The other ones were simply bringing in funds in order to get more money. And that was because at the beginning, when Luis Alvarez opened up that this was the impact, basically, he basically made up stories. And he did it along with NASA, of course. And I got a lot about that because at some point, when I had stopped working with any paleontology as far as the Alvarez were concerned, I had switched to a story that was about, yes, impacts, but a different one.
That's right.
It was an impact from, how am I going to say that? There were impact glass variables that I had studied early on. And they had come mostly from anywhere in the US, but also from India and every other places.
Right.
And it was a time when I was happy about it. And I had discovered that, in fact, again, what they had said was wrong, because I was able to study the Alvarez as well as the other impactors. I still call them impactors, by the way.
Yeah.
And it was good. And I had found out that actually at that time you had I'm
massive volcanic eruptions,
that is yes.
the greenhouse gases, the climate change, correct?
Which ones?
The climate change. It was the
Oh, the
green.
climate change was much later. The climate change comes in when much later, with India, for instance, very
Right.
much, and it still goes on there.
And
But
that's an part, right, Dr. Keller? That if you want readers to take something away from this book
mhm,
and to come away with something, would it be that the kind of extinction that actually occurred, the cause of this, the fit extinction, is something that may be happening now, but with a different source, and that we have to be cognizant of that?
yes, that's for certain. Right now, though, with what is happening now with climate change is, I would say, even dangerous. What's going to happen?
Even more dangerous. I
More,
think it's a huge takeaway from the book, Gerda. It's essential. And what you've done is essential work, and it informs what we're living through today.
I
take.
Yes. I apologize for jumping in because I think having read your book, I could listen. I want to hear more and more, but our time is up. But I thank you both for coming, and I also just want to say, reading your book, I was amazed at how aggressive these conferences are. It's just amazing that you blazed your way through them. And that was what I was also saying about the eggs, the unhatched eggs, because the end of your book is quite chilling. And I forgot to hold it up at the beginning. The last extinction is certainly what we hope that was. And I'll leave it there. But thank you so much for coming.
Thank. Where did I use all the time?
I know it just goes so quickly.